So this is Saturday Night Showdown.
Showdown, Dan. It's like me versus you.
Yes.
But with a review aspect.
Well, I like that because it's different.
Yeah. So like I bring a club.
Yeah.
You bring a club.
Yeah.
We each play with the clubs.
Okay.
But we review them at the same time, and then we mark them out of 50 on specific aspects of golf.
Saturday Night Showdown, everybody. Welcome to the show with myself, Dan Hendriksen, and Lee Whittaker in the house as well to help us do some reviewing. We're going to put a little bit of a different twist on reviews, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little bit of a change around in not necessarily what the actual product give us from a spin and yardage and all those sorts of things, but we're going to start doing our own opinion rating system.
Yep.
Which Lee knows a bit more about because he made it up.
Because I made it up. So we're going to start with irons. We're going to base it on the 7 iron, unless we can only get 6 irons, etc.
Yep.
And we're going to baseline it at 35 degrees.
So loft of the club, 35 degrees for the 7 iron.
So 35 degrees is your baseline.
Okay.
If your club comes in at 35 degrees, you
Yeah.
automatically get 10 points for
Okay.
7 ironness.
Like that, yeah.
Any degree under is points off. Any degree over, you gain a point.
Okay, like that.
And
There's
then we're
not
gonna-
many over, is there? So
Not many,
yeah.
but there's still some out there. Looks, out of 10.
Okay, so our personal opinion on looks.
Personal opinion,
Yeah.
how we feel the club looks.
Yeah.
Out of 10, and that's both aesthetically and at the ball. So
Yes.
your whole 10 points will be out of that.
Okay, like that.
Feel, opinionated again.
Feel off the face.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Sound.
Sound.
Because they sound different, especially when it comes to when we get to drivers and hybrids and things like
okay.
that. And finally, workability. So
Workability,
you know,
right.
Dan's clearly a pro, can play golf to a high standard. I play off 12. So how easy can I make the ball turn left, right, up, down? And how easy can you make it happen? So
I think that's key. If we work it on that, we've got to hit a fade, a draw, so we've got to move it from left to right, right to left. How high we can hit it, how low we can hit it, because those are the shots that we're really going to be playing when we're out on the golf course.
Yeah,
so how that club can work for that.
So as opposed to normal reviews, which are stock shot, stock shot, stock shot, how easy is it for someone like me to work it, and how easy is it for someone like you to work it?
Okay, so the idea is that we want to get out on the golf course as much as we can. We're going to get obviously hit some balls in the studio as well because we want to talk about the numbers. I want to discuss the spin, the distances, how these clubs work from that point of view. And then the idea is when it comes to the workability side of things and also sound, because that's quite an important thing when you put it outside compared to inside. Yeah. I think the more we can do outside, obviously that will be weather dependent. Okay, because we've had some seriously... I know, yeah, you're absolutely right. And we should be able to get out. So today it's a little bit nicer, so we should be able to get on the golf course today. So what have we brought to the table today?
So, day one. I am
first
bringing to
show.
you something that I think you've probably never heard of until you met me. Could be wrong. But we are going to test my ORKA 7 iron, which is the RS10 CB. So cavity back. It's kind of their... RS10 is their top of the range models, and they do a cavity back and a muscle back, and this is a cavity back.
Okay.
So this one has the centre of gravity slightly higher in the face because it's got heel and toe weights.
Weighted, I can see that,
It's completely milled out of one piece of S25 carbon steel.
Right.
Japanese carbon steel, and it is quad forged, so it claims to be one of the softest, if not the softest iron on the market.
Right, okay.
So that's
going to be you're bringing to the party. So I'm going to bring my own club as well. Being as this is the first one, I've brought my 620 TITLEIST forged MB iron. It's a 7 iron. It's 35 degrees in loft.
It's small.
So it's you think it's small. So, because this is the first one, we're not going to be bringing ORKAs and TITLEIST into every single review that we do, but because it's the first one, I think it's only right that we start off with our own clubs and we review you hitting mine, me hitting yours, and see which one kind of comes out on top.
Well, opinions. We're gonna have a league table, so there'll be Dan's league out of 50 points for irons. It'll be 40 points out for everything else because of obviously the loft isn't relevant.
Yeah.
And then there'll be my league table, and at the end of the year we'll have our 2020 top clubs based on purely our opinions.
Good, like it. Should we hit some balls?
Let's hit some balls.
Right, let's get you started off with your own club. Okay, so we're going to get you to hit some shots, and then we're going to look at looks and feel, and we'll talk some numbers as well as we go through that. All right.
So I will say I've gained a point on you.
Already, yeah, I can see that.
This is a 36-degree 7 iron.
Okay. So from the get-go, you're already 36, you're already 11 points.
Yeah, so I'm already winning.
Yeah.
So first shot, caught it a little bit low in the face, but the results are pretty good. Look down at the ball, very little offset. There is some offset, but I find it's not as sort of extreme as some clubs can be.
Right.
Which I like, being a 12 handicapper. I don't want that straight edged like you do. That would frighten me to death. Okay. So down at the club, the looks are really good, and I think the top line is pretty thin as well. Yeah. So so far, so good with looks. Can't really judge sound because that was a thin. That wasn't, and that was lovely. That was just that crack, you know, that crack you get when you hit a middle one.
Yeah. So what sort of spin are you getting, and what yardage are you getting? What's the quad reading out to you there?
So spin, we got spin was 7,000. Yeah. And carry distance 156. Okay. So that's exactly where I kind of.
That's pretty much where you're at, isn't it? That's pretty good, and spin wise, that's tidy as well.
Launch angle 24. Yeah. Which is, you know, it's kind of my numbers. Yeah. But it should be. It's my club, Dan. So I caught that one a little bit fat, or a little bit heavy. 146, 6-3 spin, and 22 launch. So yeah, I went to these clubs for a reason. I think they feel really soft. They sound, when you hit them out the middle, you get that crack. Yeah. You know, that really nice crack. You know, you've hit it, and I think they look stunning, Dan. Okay, I'll be the judge of that one. Well then, Danny boy. Right, what do you think?
your club first, shall we? Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of get what you're saying with regards to the looks on the back. I mean, it looks lovely. Looks absolutely superb. Sole on the bottom, nice and thin sole, just what I'm kind of looking for from a club. If I look at top line, when I look down at it from this angle, it does look a little square for me. So I would argue that I would think that that would probably be a bit thick. And it's not because it is thick, it's because it's flattened down, whereas my iron, you'll see later, is a little bit more rolled. This one just kind of looks like it's a little bit thicker from the top line when I look from here. However, when I then put it down by the ball, because obviously of the loft of the club, it kind of sits back and then it starts to look a little bit thinner on the top line. The actual, let's hit one, shall we, and just see what the... Little toey, that one, to start us off with.
What's your first strike of the day, Dan?
Yeah, but that is for such a low strike that I was expecting the spin to be a little bit lower than that, but it was 7-8 spin from that shot there, carrying 143, so not the best shot. Well, that feels very pure. That was soft as anything, that one.
Feel good?
Yeah, that felt more like my blade, I would say, than necessarily a cavity back iron. Looks wise, again, looking down, it's quite big in its profile. So it's probably a little bit bigger than I would like to see. It probably gives a lot of people out there a lot of confidence, and I can see why it gives you probably a bit more confidence. A little bit more real estate when looking down is always quite helpful for a lot of golfers. But for me, I like to see it just a fraction smaller if we can. And it's not necessarily the length of the blade, it's more up and down. So from top to bottom, it just looks a little bit deep in the face.
Come on then, Dan, give us one more.
Yeah, one more decent strike. That was a good shot, that one. Spinning at 7,000, so that's pretty much spot on. Yeah, that's hit well as well. 171. So it's on the top end of what I'm getting from what I want from my spin. I want my spin to be around 6,500 to 7,000. This one's just creeping up and over 7,000. But again, you talked about the loft on it, 36 degrees of loft. If we probably brought that loft down a fraction, maybe 1 or 2 degrees, we'd start to lose maybe 200, 300 revs off the spin, and that would be more now sitting into where I want the club to play from. So
overall, impressed?
Yeah, I am. I tell you what, I am impressed with. I mean, super impressed with the feel. Like that is like, it's as good as anything. Like I wouldn't be concerned about the feel off the face of these at all. That is as pure as a blade can be from a feel point of view. So like it.
So we move on to your micro club.
Let's do that, shall we?
It's a bit small, Dan.
Well,
look. It's a bit small, Dan.
Pure blade. A pure blade.
Pure, not good for me.
Okay, so how's it making you feel to start off with?
Do you know what? Look, I can't fault the looks. It looks phenomenal. It's just pure, isn't it? There's no fancy gimmicks. There's nothing. It's just pure metal.
Yeah.
Down at the ball, it's tiny, and I just think my margin for error as a 12 handicap has suddenly become a lot less.
Yeah.
So it's like middle of the club or nothing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Okay, put it down by the ball. Let's have a little look. What do you think about the top line and stuff like that?
The top line doesn't offend me. I think the size of it as the head is what worries me. So, like the length of the head.
Okay, so yeah, heel to toe length.
Yeah, heel to toe length. The actual like size of it or the high toe section of it doesn't offend me.
Right.
Quite like the look of it.
Okay.
I just see the ball next to it and I think I've got literally no margin for error.
Yeah.
But who says a 12 handicap can't hit a blade?
Let's see it then.
So a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
6-3 spin.
6-3 spin.
150 on the nose.
So a lot lower spin than what you're getting out of your own club.
Yeah, I did catch it slightly heavy.
Yeah, and this club's got 10 points, doesn't it? Because it's 35 degrees in loft.
Yes, this is a degree stronger
than your own one.
club.
But as a standard, it's our benchmark, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're using it as a benchmark. But you know what? As soon as it's a first real hit with it, I'll take that. It's in play. It's my distance.
Yeah.
Just want to get one out of the middle to get that feel. Just slightly toey.
Yeah.
So it just brought the spin up and brought the distance down. I think that's the point with these.
Yeah.
Is the margin for error for someone of my ability, the drop-offs are too much.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like you who can pretty much hit the middle every time, you've got that consistent distance. The drop-offs on this are just
so
too
you're
much.
feeling that thing twisting in your hand when you're mishitting it slightly,
Yeah,
and
so
just
it's
feeling not
toe,
as solid.
It just feels like it's twisting.
Yeah.
And that will make me, as a mid-handicapper, want to grip it harder to stop that happening.
Okay.
Which again is counterproductive. Then,
Yeah, that's not going to help a great deal, is it?
Restrict your whole swing. But let's get one out in the middle.
Well, that was flushed, wasn't it?
That was flushed. So that's 7-3 spin, 1-6-3, and that's a wow moment, Dan. That's a wow moment. I'm keeping these.
You're off.
Do I even need to ask you how you feel about this club, Dan?
It just gives me pure confidence. That's all it does.
And why? Why
Because
is that?
it's so slimline at the top. There's very little offset, which I love, and one of the reasons why I went for these, certainly this year, is because they have changed the offset in the Titleist range this year. They've brought it a little bit less offset, put it more onset. To me, it's as good as anything looks, and I'm not saying that because it's a Titleist. I get that same feeling when I look at a Mizuno blade, or a Callaway blade, or a TaylorMade blade. Even the Ping Blueprint blade. I just love the look of a blade because of the thinner top lines. I just see a smaller profile, which almost like gives me, I don't know, less hitting space. So it makes me focus maybe just that fraction harder when I'm trying to hit it. I don't know what it is, but it just, to me, it feels or looks certainly off the bat that it's just easy to hit.
Sounds good.
Yeah, a little bit off the bottom, but you know, where you were getting sort of 7, what were we getting from yours? We were getting around 7,000 revs with the ORKA iron. Again, that 1 extra degree in loft probably helping that a little bit. But you know, I first shot off the bat 154, so not the best strike. It was a little bit low in the face. So I've lost a few yards, but spinning it at 6.5, that's pretty much where I want my 7 iron to be. And there's the one. When I get that strike absolutely perfect out the middle, I mean, nothing feels better to me. Nothing feels better. And to be honest with you, the level of golf that I'm at the moment, you know, I'm not looking for the best scores nowadays. I'm looking for just enjoyment from my clubs, and just to get that one shot that comes out the middle and feels that good, to me, is quite an important factor.
One more then, Dan. Let's see if you can hit it as far as I did. You know, I am a 12 handicap, Dan.
Okay, all right. Let me just give it a little bit more in this. All right. There you go. 6-6 spin, 158 in the carry. That's pretty much where I'm at. 162 is my perfect shot with this club. So yeah, pretty much hitting all the numbers that I want it to do. Right, we've got to rate it.
We've got to rate it.
We've got to rate these clubs now.
Are we going to be biased towards Titleist, Dan? Or are we going to be honest?
We're going to be honest.
Okay.
Absolutely honest. Like, it has to be that way.
Exactly.
Has to be that way.
Right, Orca. Should we start with that?
Let's go with Orca, yeah.
So I have given it 11 points for being a 7 iron because it's 36 degrees.
Absolutely.
So at this stage, it's winning.
Okay.
Looks, I've given it 8 because I picked this club purely on its looks.
Okay.
I think it looks spectacular. It's certainly the best looking club I've ever owned.
Yeah.
So at the time of buying it, this looked fantastic, so we got 8.
Yeah.
Feel 8. I think it's really soft. I can't go any higher than 8 because I haven't hit every club as much as you have, so my feel aspect isn't as high as yours, so I'll stick at 8.
Yeah.
Soft when you hit it, not that punishing when you don't slightly get it out the middle.
Okay.
And sound, I'm going to give it an 8 as well because of the crack it gives.
Yeah.
I just feel when it's out the middle, you get that crack as opposed to dull, tingy stuff. It's just a pure noise. Yeah. I'm going to rate it down on workability as 6 because I struggle to keep it down. Yeah.
When we were out hitting some balls outside, it was interesting to see that you could shape it. You could maneuver it how you kind of wanted to roughly maneuver it. It was just that you could get it up in the air, but trying to then push it down was a little bit more difficult.
I struggled to get the spin down on this. Even with the shaft I've got in it, the 6.5 Project X, I struggle to get spin down sometimes, so that I can't get that low fly. Yeah. So total points for the Orca for me is 41.
Okay, good. Right. So for looks for me, I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay.
And it's not because I think it doesn't look, I think it looks really good from the back end here, certainly. When you look down, it was just the look of the profile of the head, a little bit thicker on that top line, and the actual footprint of the club is just quite big for my eye. So I wouldn't, if I was rating that club or going to buy a set of clubs, I wouldn't buy it based on those sort of things. And also it's a slightly more offset than I want to see. So for me personally, 6 out of 10 is what I'd give it.
That's fair.
Feel off the face. For me, feel off the face is as good as anything. I honestly, I think it's as good as anything. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay, that's good.
And then if we look at the sound that I got from it from inside to outside, pretty much the same. So I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
Workability.
And then workability. Now I could move it left to right and right to left, and that's down to me, my face to path, so that was pretty straightforward. I could hit it high, not a problem. Got it up in the air, not a problem. That extra bit of loft, again, spinning it up in the air. But then when I tried to get it down, God, it felt hard work to try and knock that ball down. Again, loft playing a part there, spin playing a part there. So it was wanting to rev up when we saw it outside, didn't we? It was trying to just rev up a little bit on me from there. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for that side of it. So workability pretty good, except for just keeping it a little bit lower.
So overall,
total 40 points.
40 points, so 40-41.
Yeah.
Quick note, this is a completely forged iron, so it is movable.
Yeah, you can manoeuvre the lofts on them when you order them.
TITLEIST 620MB.
TITLEIST 620MB. Should we start with you again?
Okay. Looks wise, I'm going to give it a 7. I was going to give it an 8, but it's that heel to toe size. For me, it's too small.
Yeah. And that's the way you got to, and no different than the way I rated yours. You know, if it was too big, then I'm going to rate it lower. But
as it looks aesthetically, can't fault it. It's gorgeous. Yeah. But for a golfer's point of view, it scares me. Okay. So no. Feel, this will surprise you, and it was that last shot.
Go on.
9.
Wow.
When that came out the middle,
doesn't get much better.
No, I can't give it a 10 because I've got nothing else to. Again, put it against. That out the middle was a bit of a wow factor. Okay. It felt better than this out the middle. Yeah. Sound, just a standard 8. It sounds just as good as this. Yeah. It's that crack. It's that noise you'd expect. The noise you expect from these sorts of clubs. So just a standard 8. Yeah. Workability. I'm giving it 1 more point than the Orca at 7 because I could keep that lower. Yeah. You know, we could see that out on the golf course. It was just that little bit lower. Yeah. When you were hitting it, wasn't it? So I can keep it low, get it high, move it left to right. Yeah. So it's getting a 7. So that total for me is 1 more than the Orca at 42 points. Wow, and I'm surprised, being as it's a blade, and you weren't standing there with a great deal of confidence to start off with, but after you hit a couple of shots with it, you were starting to think, What it does as a mid-handicap golfer is it makes me concentrate on hitting it.
Yeah, well,
With this,
me,
I can kind of just waft at it.
Yeah.
With that, I'm thinking I've got to get this, so I'm thinking more about my
It's
strike.
not a bad thing. It's not a
So
bad thing.
42-41 for me.
Okay. Right, so for me, let's start off with looks. To me, it doesn't get much better than this. I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm not giving it a 10. Maybe because if I was being honest, I'd probably make it a little bit less offset again. But, I mean, it is pretty flush. It is pretty flush. So I'm going to give it a 9 because I can't really give it a 10.
Okay.
If we then go on feel, okay, I'm going to go 8.
Okay.
And I'm losing it a couple of numbers purely because when I do off-centered strike it, it does really start to feel twisty and things like that in my hand. But I kind of want that. But ultimately, if they could have made it with a little bit more sort of stability in there, then that's going to push that number up. But obviously, as it is, 8 out of 10 for that.
And on that thing, I think that gives you more feedback than this does on an off-centre strike.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know when you've mishit it, absolutely, whereas you wouldn't know quite as much with that one.
No.
And then when we come to the sound of it, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I'm giving it an 8 again. You know, so it's very much the same as what I gave the Orca Club, but they sound in my eyes, or my hearing is saying that the Orca and this one are sounding very similar.
Yeah, there's not a lot between them, is there?
And then when it comes to the workability of it, I'm going to give it an 8.
What did we give the Orca? 7. So 8.
So workability, and the reason for that, exactly the same as you, I just feel like I can keep that ball a little bit lower when I'm hitting this particular club compared to the Orca.
Yeah, completely.
So that gives me what, 44 points?
44 points.
So that's beaten the Orca by 4 points.
Yep, and that's looking at your numbers a lot on looks.
Yeah.
And this is the point of this, is it's all opinionated.
Absolutely.
You know, the numbers, what I get, what you get, are fine, but you know, I don't like that because it's too small. You don't like that because it's too big.
Correct.
This is all opinionated.
Yeah.
But that's why there's 2 different aspects of level of golf for doing this.
Good review.
I like it.
And I like the style of the review.
It's different.
Different.
And there's a league table.
Yes.
So 44 points is the benchmark for you.
Keep an eye on it as we go.
42 for me.
Right, thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing with this particular show. And hit that bell for some more notifications of videos coming your way. We'll look forward to seeing you next Saturday.
Next Saturday for another showdown.
Absolutely.